screwed. They are really screwed.
That's the legal term you're going to use? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let's take a little commercial break.
Yeah.
We're talking to Grant Stern, always a great guest. You can find him at grantstern.com. You can find him on Twitter as Grant Stern. He also tweets as Occupy Democrats. And if you go to grantstern.com, this is like one of the first articles. If you pull it right up, you go to articles. You'll hear the source. Wall GoFundMe sponsor just paid a nearly $1 million yacht, updated. And then he has all these updates going back and forth with Mr. Kolfage. So we'll be right back with more of Grant Stern after these messages. And now a word from our sponsors.
Have you ever thought about opening your own mobile cart or kiosk business? Maybe the facility you manage could establish new revenue by adding coffee, food, or retail services. Cart King International can be the answer to your needs. Cart King is a North American designer and manufacturer of the finest mobile coffee, food, and retail carts and kiosks. Cart King has been working with clients and corporations across North America for 20 years, providing innovative designs, custom manufacturing, and timely delivery. Carts and kiosks are fun, and so are the dozens of designs on our website. Please visit us today at www.cart-king.com or just call us at 1-877-986-7771 and get your sales rolling.
PureSoapFlakes.com, 218-568-2525. Have you ever heard of Castile Soap? Pure Soap Flake Company handcrafts fine soap bars, laundry powder, and concentrated soap flakes using organic vegetable oils from their northern Minnesota facility. Bathe your body and wash your clothes with Pure Soap products that are free of fragrance, GMOs, palm oil, sodium lauryl sulfate, and synthetic additives. Keep it clean, folks. Pure Soap Flake Company products are kind to living creatures and sensitive skin, safe for drains and waterways, and work great in high-efficiency washers and top and front-loading machines. They have a little promotion going on. Contact them to order some soap. Mention the Opperman Report. You're going to get a free gift. They're going to send a little extra soap, travel size, soap bars and laundry soap, cleaning soap flakes. I've been using that stuff all day long today. Great stuff. Order today at puresoapflakes.com or give them a call, 218-568-2525, 218-568-2525. Pure Soap Flake Company is a proud member of the Handcrafted Soap and Cosmetic Guild.
Tina Helmuth is writing an ongoing series of fact-fiction books that boldly takes on today's most heinous crimes. Suffer the Little Children, The Wrath of the Father, and Unbreakable. Deeply researched and mixed with the supernatural, good versus evil makes these thrillers hard to put down. Available at Lulu.com in paperback or ebook.
If you find yourself in need of legal representation, it can be a very stressful time in your life. In my career, I have dealt with thousands of lawyers, I've dealt with thousands of law firms, and I can confidently recommend to you Keith M. Davidson at kmdlaw.com. Available 24 hours, 7 days a week. Just log into kmdlaw.com. That's kmdlaw.com. Or you can call toll-free 833-4KMD-LAW. That's 833-4KMD-LAW. Personal injury, wrongful death, STDs, sexual assault, car accidents, they handle it all efficiently and professionally. It doesn't matter how imposing the opposition may be, because the team at KMDlaw.com are battle-tested and fierce. They will not stop until justice prevails. Go to KMDlaw.com or call toll-free 833-4KMD-LAW. If you're in for the fight of your life, stop screwing around and contact KMD Law.
It's the Opperman Report. And now, here is investigator Ed Opperman.
There you go. Okay, welcome back to the Opperman Report. I'm your host, Private Investigator Ed Opperman. We're here talking to one of my favorite guests, Grant Stern, from grantstern.com. You could find him on Twitter as Grant Stern. He also tweets as Occupy Democrats. And wrote this incredible story about the Brian Kolfage GoFundMe. We the people will build the wall. They're going to build the wall themselves. Okay. Now, let me ask you a question. Grant, did any wall get built by these guys?
So they actually did build a wall facility in Sunland Park, Mexico. They did it illegally and then apparently got some permits after the fact. Too funny. Yeah, there were death threats against the town of Sunland Park, which, by the way, it's like a suburb of El Paso, Texas. It's very, it's next door to El Paso. And they built that. They put a little bit of money towards the second wall, which was built in the National Butterfly Refuge. I don't know if you heard about the war between We Build the Wall and Burn Coalface and the National Butterfly Refuge.
I do. I remember hearing that, yeah.
Mm-hmm. But that was the thing, and I don't know what's wrong with either of those projects at this point. I would imagine the Sunland Park one is in okay shape, but the other one was right next to the Rio Grande, so it could probably still be a pretty problematic structure to maintain over the years. And that was built by Fisher Industries, a North Dakota-based contractor that got a multi-billion-dollar contract for building Trump's Wall.
Oh, really? That's fascinating, too. Now, Grant, let me ask you a question.
Yes.
If they got $25 million come in, they can't hire a couple of decent law firms to kind of like, you know what I mean? Like do things legit? Get the building permits?
They could have, but they just didn't want anybody to know. They wanted to do it all in the dark of the night, make sure nobody could step in and use facts and law to stop them. that was their aim, and they hit them the mark there. They pushed the thing through. They built something, but of course it's just a vanity project. It's a huge border,
Now,
the Bush administration tried it. They tried it after 9/11, and they just found that private people own some of the land. There's nature reserves. There's the Rio Grande moves. I mean, it's just not like this, dashed line on a map. It's a place.
Yeah. And a lot of that land is privately owned. It's, preserves, it's just not that simple. Now, with the funds, I know part of your story you're reporting there was you uncovered that some of this funds was spent on a $1 million yacht.
$670,000 yacht, to be precise, we found out.
Okay.
Still, that's a lot nicer than anything I'm driving.
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny because they're like, it's not a yacht. I mean, look, can you take a fishing boat, just a regular fishing boat, out for a 50-hour expedition in the Gulf of Mexico?
I guess not.
What is it?
Yeah, I'm from the desert. I'm from the desert, man. I couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, I mean, they bought their $670,000 boat. And to recap what I wrote in the story is that this guy went to another conservative and said, hey, I'm broke. I just got deplatformed by Facebook because they kicked my right-wing news website. It was called Right Wing News. Facebook page off of Facebook. Miraculously, they didn't kick his personal page off. And I'm running out of cash. Like, can you help out? This is terrible. And of course, that person later, they turned in Coalface, and they said, look, Coalface came to me and said he was broke in October, and now here we are in May. And this guy's riding around in this $1 million yacht, or close to it, and he's living in what looks like $1 million home. The guy said, look, I know what it costs to have a nice place and a nice car like they have, and you're just not making that kind of money on coffee. Like he had a coffee company. He said that was his means of support. Coalface did. And the reality is that money got redirected towards the fancy house, the fancy boat, the lovely Range Rover, Land Rover, whatever the heck was driving. And lots of other middlemen and kickbacks. And, I mean, if you read my story, I have a source that told me that We Build the Wall spent more on legal fees than any other thing besides building that wall and the one in Sunland Park. And the legal fees almost all went to Chris Kobach, the former Secretary of State of Kansas.
And that's the one that Trump had appointed to dig up election fraud.
Yes, that's right. He was the head of the election fraud task force that found no election fraud.
Now, when this money was diverted to a yacht and fancy cars and this luxurious home, was it kept in the corporation, the We Build the Wall Corporation, or was it actually transferred over converted into personal use by Mr. Kolfage?
Well, they converted it, and Steve Bannon used another nonprofit called Citizens of the American Republic, or CORE, to launder the money. So, We Build the Wall gives money to CORE, and then CORE pays, all. And this is pretty shady stuff. I mean, we're not just talking about, one check. I mean, I'm just telling you what's in the indictment. But we kind of, divvied up the cash, and they, pay somebody, and then, that person would give half the money to somebody else. And, they were paying vendors and doing kickbacks, all sorts of, very, very thinly contextualized financial activity to launder the money out of We Built the Wall and into these other hands without reporting it. And, I'm going to cite something on the very deepest background, which is that, so far I haven't seen a tax return filed, but people familiar with the case all wondered one thing: why charge money laundering if they haven't filed a tax return yet? And for your listeners who may not realize this, money laundering it requires an underlying crime. Like you're hiding the proceeds of money from some other crime. So why charge money laundering without tax fraud? Because normally tax fraud is the underlying crime. And my theory is that maybe they were trying to get, somebody to be on the hook, like somebody else. Like they're trying to, they'd done all the things they'd done, and then it looks like maybe they were trying to file a tax return that was going to cover it up, and they got caught in the attempt of filing a tax return that would have covered up their ill-gotten gains with some stolen $1 million. And maybe that's why they got charged with conspiracy to launder money, because the feds are obviously reading all of the texts and messages and whatnot. So, that's just my theory of the case. The wire fraud charges are very straightforward. They said that they were going to take no money from them. They did. They knew that it was a material fact. It was. And they took the money, and they lied. That's fraud to solicit charitable donations, and they got a massive amount of that. Pretty simple.
Let me ask you this, because there was a whole slew of pardons this weekend. And when I was looking through some of them, I was trying to Google each one to see what they were up to. Many of them were also shady financial crimes like this one. A lot of them were meth dealers, too. Meth distribution, manufacture, a lot of them. But I would notice occasionally the White House would issue an associated statement with an excuse and a reason. Did they issue one of those for this Bannon pardon?
It was pretty short. They said that Steve was loyal to Trump, and so they're pardoning him, which we all know to be true, kind of.
Yeah.
What kind of statement were they going to issue?
Yeah.
Trump is leaning on this guy for his political future because he doesn't seem to have one, so why not pardon him at this point? That's essentially what the whole decision boiled down to. The New York Times reported that Trump's lawyers advised him against pardoning Bannon and said that it could implicate him in other actions. I think that
really is a shame.
Wind up being a problem for Donald Trump.
Because it's not like Bannon's repentant, or rehabilitated, or anything, not even a bit,
I don't even understand why a person who would publicly call for the murder of high-ranking public officials covered under statutes that, make that a crime, and do so in a public forum. I don't understand why such a person would be granted bail, even let alone delivered a pardon.
He wanted to cut somebody's head off.
Pardon's supposed to be there to correct injustice.
Right. He wanted to cut somebody's head off. Who was it? Fauci? It was? Who do you want to cut the head off of?
Yeah, he threatened Fauci and the FBI director.
Amazing.
Christopher Wray. Yeah, I honestly don't understand why he was allowed to be out after saying that. We have First Amendment right, but once you're a part of court proceeding, there's a little more oversight of the things that you do and say.
Yeah,
I don't recall even having here.
Yeah, I had a guest on this show, became friends with him for years, Reverend Ed Pinkney, who was had his bail revoked for quoting the Bible, okay, and as it applied to his judge. And